When you realize you've hit rock bottom and you're 23 years of age, you've lost your self-worth and you've spiraled into this constant negative self-talk, you start to really question, what is my purpose? Why have I been put on the planet? And why do I feel this way? And as it turned out, bullying was the source of this. It had taken a huge toll on my life. So for a young person to feel this way, to constantly question her worth from primary school days up until the age of 23, it was horrible. When I look back, I feel really sad for that girl. It's only now that I can actually see the blessing in it. Because if I didn't go through bullying, I wouldn't be helping the kids that I'm helping now with their bullying experiences. And I wouldn't be empowering the parents around the world to truly parent courageously and support their kids to overcome bullying and friendship conflicts. Hey, I'm Kimberly Conicella, massive anti-bullying advocate and mother to 2 beautiful kids, a qualified education and communications expert who went from being bullied, dealing with the trauma of it, into teaching kids how to deal with conflict. Now I'm obsessed with helping other parents to do the same with my business that's changed lives of hundreds of kids worldwide, the Courage Edition. Each week, I'll be releasing episodes that give you simple, actionable, and practical advice so that you can decode and explore the multiple different pieces of the puzzle for overcoming bullying and conflict so that you can feel relieved and your child can feel empowered and strong, because a child shouldn't have to be worrying about being picked on or dealing with hurtful bullying. So if you're a courageous parent like me, yet feel totally helpless in supporting your child through bullying and friendship conflicts, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the Courage Edition. I'm so excited that you're joining me here. So in this episode, I want to talk about what I do, who I am, my story, and why I'm so passionate about helping kids overcome bullying. If you're a parent that has a child that is currently going through bullying, or they've got some friends that aren't so nice to them, maybe they exclude them, then this episode is for you. This podcast has been years in the making, to be totally honest. I've always been really nervous to make a podcast because I think about inner strength and bullying in a different way to others. And so the advice that you're going to get on this podcast won't always align with everyone. But I know firsthand that it works, and I've seen so much success with it. I just can't keep it to myself any longer. So I'm here to spread the word on how you can parent courageously and help your child overcome bullying and nasty conflicts. You are definitely not alone here. I totally understand that feeling of defeat and helplessness in not knowing what to do and how to help your child. If you're a parent that has contacted the school and not really felt supported by the school, then I'm here for you, my friend. I've got you. And not only that, I was bullied as a kid, so I totally understand how your child might be feeling going through it. While I've processed the trauma of it, I haven't forgotten how it made me feel all those years ago. And I think that's why I'm really able to deep dive into the tools and strategies that are needed for your child to climb themselves out of being bullied. Because it is a journey. It's a journey for you as the parent, and it's a journey for your child to overcome it. So a bit about me before I jump right in. I'm going to go right back to the beginning. So primary school for me was rather uneventful up until year 5. I made friends pretty easily in the first couple of years of primary school, and those girls were my best friends all the way up until year 5 when the bullying started. Now, I can imagine during those first several years of primary school, I may have been not the easiest person to get along with. I actually can't remember a lot before the trauma of bullying, but I can imagine I was a very vocal little girl who was quite sensitive as well. Anyway, during year 5, another girl joined our group, and that was basically when it all started. It started off with a whole lot of whispers and rumors about what I'd said about other kids in the group, plus the push from this girl to exclude me from the group as well. And it wasn't long before it totally got out of hand. The excluding was happening every day, and I just wanted so badly to be part of this group still. I couldn't understand why it was happening. By the end of year 5, I had been totally excluded from the group. None of them talked to me anymore, and they made it their mission to make sure that many of the kids in the year also didn't talk to me or didn't include me in their groups. I remember at one point inviting one of the girls in the group over for a play date in the afternoon after school, and I remember conditioning it with, so long as you hang around with me at lunch, then you can come over in the afternoon. She reluctantly agreed, but then when the other girls in the group found out that day, things got a little bit scary. It was the first time and the last time, thank goodness, that physical violence happened. They pushed me to the ground and then kicked me a couple of times before walking away. Now, I totally understand that this is probably minor physical violence compared to what a lot of other people have gone through, a lot of other kids have gone through. But this frightened me so much that I actually never invited any of the girls over again after school. And actually, none of the girls reached out to hang out with me outside of school either. So this bullying continued right up until just before high school, so the end of year 6. And by that time, the damage had been done. I had no self-worth, no resilience, no inner strength, and I actually believed everything that these bullies were saying about me was true, that I was not a likable person. So I actually started high school with the lowest view of myself, and if I'm honest, the next 6 years weren't great for me. I made friends easily enough, thank goodness, but it was keeping those friends that I found really hard. The moment that there was conflict or any kind of little disagreement, I was out of there. I was gone. I trusted nobody. And so by the end of year 12, I think I'd gone through nearly every group in my year at school. And just for the record, I'm not innocent in all of this. I remember in year 9, I actually turned on one of the girls that had bullied me in primary school. And it was actually the one that I cared about the most, the one that had been my closest friend up until the bullying and then had become a close friend in high school again. And I made her life hell for 3 months until my heart and my better judgment caught up with me and I actually stopped doing what I was doing. But the damage had been done. I also started hanging around with the smokers group in school. I don't know if you remember, I feel like every high school had like a smokers group. Anyway, I went through a period of time during year 9 where I lashed out pretty badly on my parents. I was leaving home, staying out really late. My parents had no idea where I was and kind of just being like a full nuisance in the community. And not to mention a huge worry for my parents. It's not a time that I'm proud of. And I truly hope that my kids don't go through that. But it did help shape who I am now. So I left high school pretty much with no friendships to show for it and got into university. And it was during my uni years that I really hit rock bottom. I couldn't hold on to friends due to my trust issues, and so I finished uni without any solid friendships as well. At 23 years of age, I had a degree and had somehow made it through my education years, but really didn't have those fun stories with friends that everyone else had. And actually, it was my uni housemate that really helped me turn my life around. I remember she took me to my first psychology appointment and literally sat outside for an hour waiting for me. No one in my life had done anything like that for me before. And at that point, I really did think that nobody cared about me. And yet there was this one shining light that was there. So from there, I spent the next 5 years in counseling, where I learned about the brain and really dug deep into processing the source of these trust issues, which was bullying. I came out the other side, and the only way to really explain this, the only way I can explain this, is that suddenly the world had color again. It was at that point that I actually went back and studied a master's in education, because I wanted to get into schools and help kids deal with bullying and conflict at that age so that they didn't have the trauma that I had as an adult. What I dealt with, I wanted no other kid to go through. Hey, just jumping in here for a second, because I know what it feels like to feel stuck when your child is dealing with bullying. You're doing everything you can and it feels like nothing's working, right? That's exactly why I created Bully Proof Academy. It's my membership program designed for parents like you who are ready to stop feeling helpless and start feeling confident in how to support their child through bullying and conflict. Inside, you'll get access to my entire framework, the Courage Method, where I break down strength, strategies, and support, all the tools and guidance you need to help your child stand strong and thrive. But it's not just about strategies. You'll also get access to me. Yep, I run live hot seats, answer your questions, and mentor you through this process. Because let's be real, there's no one-size-fits-all solution to bullying. So if you're ready to move from feeling stuck to feeling empowered, I'd love for you to check it out. Head over to thecourageedition.com or just DM me the word Academy on Instagram at The Courage Edition, and I'll send you all the details. All right, let's get back to the episode. So after teaching in schools for a little while, I wanted to reach more kids, and so I decided to create a social media account called The Courage Edition. And I was using that platform to educate people on bullying. You might be thinking at this point, Kim, where were your parents? They were there through it all, but they had no idea how to help me. And they had no support either. They weren't getting help from the school when I was being bullied. There was just no help. And I realized that this was another area that I needed to be talking about and educating people on my platform, to not only support kids that were going through nasty conflicts or bullying, but to also help parents. But if I'm honest, it was when I had my first baby, my little man Avery, that I realized, okay, Kim, you have a duty here, a purpose now. The last thing you ever want is for your child to go through bullying, especially the way that I did. And so it was time for me to buckle up and share what I know with others. And I decided to start a business. Now, I had no idea how to start a business. I just knew that I needed to. What I did know a lot about was bullying and the need for a child to be able to build up their inner strength to handle that type of conflict. I'd experienced bullying and I had observed it while teaching, where I would help certain kids who were going through bullying and kind of coach them through it. And that's when I realized I needed to be consulting families one-on-one to help them overcome bullying. And I kind of figured out the business side from there. Coaching one-to-one, I absolutely loved it. Watching kids bloom with inner strength, come back from feeling worthless, it's all been the best feeling and the most rewarding thing to watch. I literally jump out of bed each day knowing I get to work on my soul's purpose, which is helping kids overcome bullying. And so that's why I'm here today. The Courage Edition has evolved over time from being a social media platform to consulting families one-to-one and coming up with customized plans to help kids through their particular bullying experience. And I wasn't just taking on any family. That family and that child had to fit a certain criteria for the program to be successful. Every bullying experience is unique and different. And so I was helping kids deal with bullying, cyberbullying, and even conflict with their friends that they were struggling with, but not physical bullying. That's a whole nother kettle of fish, which I can talk about in another episode. So I would make personalized plans for these families and kids. I would really listen to these kids and not treat them like what was happening to them was something small, because that really happens a lot to kids. We as adults often perceive what our kids are going through as something small compared to our own lives. But for a child, these small things feel huge to them. And it's actually these challenges that shape them, that create beliefs and patterns in them. So us as parents need to be really diligent. We need to be really aware of the way our children think and the stories that they're telling themselves, especially based on what other kids are saying to them or how others are acting towards them. So with my program, one by one, these kids were transforming. And I was getting these parents reaching out to me saying, oh my gosh, Kim, I can't believe how much they've changed. And then from there, things really started to change for me. I went from seeing one client or one family to many families. And even though every bullying situation is different, every child's experiences are different, every nasty conflict is different, and every child's journey is different, I actually was starting to notice similarities in them. I realized that I could make a program that could be suited for many kids to deal with bullying and conflict, and also help parents parent courageously to support their kids through it. Every family that I'd helped, I realized that they needed help in 3 different areas: strength, strategies, and support. And this has become the method, the courage method, that my program runs on. So that was when I created my 2-week signature course, Bully-Proof Your Kid, which essentially helps your child build the foundations of inner strength, which is really needed before they can actually try any of the strategies. So the 2-week course looks at your child's inner strength and how you can support them. So that covers the strength and the support as they start to build up their inner strength to try some of the more simple strategies against bullying and nasty conflict. So I've been selling the 2-week signature course for a while now, and I've had a really good response from it. Like, I have over 800 families going through this Bully-Proof Your Kid course, which feels incredibly amazing. But then I realized when they finished the 2-week course, they kind of had nowhere to go from there. I had so many strategies that I wanted to give to these kids and so much more that I wanted to teach them, which I was doing in the one-to-one program with families, but I couldn't put all of that into the 2-week course. It would just be so overwhelming if I did. It just didn't make sense to do that. So that's when I started Bully-Proof Academy, which is a membership where you can access my entire program and get access to me with hot seats and mentoring. I love teaching in there so much. I can't even begin to explain the feeling and how amazing it is that I can help be more supportive to so many more families and kids that are going through bullying. So I run my program inside Bully-Proof Academy, which is my membership. Plus, I still sell my 2-week signature course, Bully-Proof Your Kid, which, by the way, you can actually skip and go straight into Bully-Proof Academy because it's inside that as well. Because the 2-week course is it's essentially the start of my program, the first module of my program. And the reason I just offer it separately is for those people that just want to dip their toe in and see if it's a right fit for them. But if you know it's the right fit and you desperately want the help, you can just jump straight into BPA and totally get started. And now I have this awesome podcast, which I'm totally excited about. Plus, I'm really active on Instagram and TikTok at The Courage Edition. And I've just started a YouTube channel too called The Courage Edition. So it's a really exciting time for the Courage Edition and for families and kids out there that have just felt like there's been no help for them when it comes to bullying and nasty conflicts. I have so much that I want to share with you. And honestly, each episode is going to have small, actionable chunks that you can take away and implement into your own life and into your child's own life, because I want to inspire you and be a support for you. And because I want you to know that you're not alone dealing with bullying, even though it can feel really isolating. Before I go, I'd really appreciate that if you enjoyed this episode, if you relate to my story, please subscribe. I don't want you to miss any future episodes. And if you could leave a review, it would mean the world to me. The more parents that can get hold of this podcast, the more kids I can help with bullying and conflict, especially at a time when resources on bullying are limited and bullying has kind of become its own pandemic. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time.